We got a Gen Z men versus women panel here, so it's just back to the basics. Let's get right into it.
For me, it's just such a big, important part is periods and hormones. Our hormones are just crazy, and that makes us so much more emotional, and men have never experienced that.
Yeah, but we put up with it.
When it comes to a man, one thing we do is we go to work to provide for others. We don't ever think about ourselves. So
I think men are intimidated by the way women move through the world.
What's your name, bro? Aiden. Aiden, you're a all right?
Men are intimidated by successful women.
I think that is one of the most truest things that I've ever heard, mainly because when you look at it, a man, a lot of the time, he'll go to work to be able to make money so then once he gets a wife, he can provide for her. As opposed to the fact that women, we will go to work, make our own money purely for the fact that we don't have to rely on a man. So I feel like when a man does know that a woman's very successful, it does intimidate them because it makes them think that they're not going to be of use to that woman. If that
Well, you just explained a selfish person. You don't think that maybe it's because they see you as selfish if you exhibit those traits? A man isn't looking at a woman who makes $100,000. Imagine being on a date with a woman. She says, I make $100,000 a year. And a man goes, oh, no. What kind of man is intimidated by a woman that's making money? She literally just explained a selfish person and said the reason why a man wouldn't want to date a selfish person is because he's intimidated by how much they make. That just makes no sense.
makes sense. So that's my stance.
I disagree, because when it comes to a man, one thing we do is we go to work to provide for others. We don't ever think about ourselves. So to you guys, it seems like, it's a bad thing, but we hustle for our family, our friends, and then we think of ourselves or whoever we're trying to, take care of. So, yeah. But.
I'm going to say I feel like I was raised in a family where my mother earns more than my father, and that's always been the case for my whole life, so I definitely don't feel that way. Also, I'm gay, so I don't give a shit, but
why is he in a men versus women gender debate? Like, why is it every time I look at these panels, any of these modern panels, they always get like the most soy boys they can find off the streets on these panels? It's insane. Every time I see like recently over the last year, every time I see a panel of men, there's always like gay dudes sprinkled in there, super feminine guys. It's just so weird. These just soy boys in these things.
I want my man to answer money. No, I'm just kidding. But no, not at all. Definitely not. I also don't feel like any of my friends are like that at all. My friends are wonderful. Here you go.
Most men that...
What skin would he have in the game to even be in this conversation? I mean, maybe some foreskin, but it seems like every time they try to portray men in these panels, it's always like the most soy boy guys. It's crazy.
With, like, as an example, they like to be in charge, be the leader and stuff, when most girls, they want to start being in charge. As our generation, we're just starting with, like, feminism, being leaders, doing all this.
Being in charge. I've never, even when women make a lot of money, they still don't pay for dates. So they don't want to be in charge. They don't want to be in charge. That's not what it's about. Even when women make a lot of money, they still want a man that makes more than them, oftentimes.
It says we couldn't do it back then, but now us grown women, we're just like, want to be bad bitches now,
Cringe.
Completely
Cringe.
disagree. I think that's just probably wrong choices. I don't think so. As the boys at the back said, I don't think so we really care if someone's earning more or less. It just depends on what role you play in the relationship. If someone is earning more and the other person is taking care of the other things, it can be a man as well. And a lot of men, like they take care of the families while some women are working. So it's probably like a very old statement. I don't think so it's correct in the recent scenario from my, own experience.
I actually don't think it has anything to do with money. I think men are intimidated by the way women move through the world.
Oh my gosh, they're just saying buzzwords. Like, TikTok has really done a number on people's brains. They're literally just speaking in buzzwords. Not a single original thought on the panel. The only guy who actually made a decent point is the guy who literally said exactly what she said, the black dude that's in the middle, who said that men work for other people. We work to provide for families. That's what men do, generally speaking. And even when women make a lot of money, they still want men to be the providers, generally speaking. Men know that when a woman makes money, we generally don't have access to it anyway. And we tend to want our woman, our wives, the woman that we're going to provide for, to prioritize family over career. And because when you have a high-paying career, usually is very demanding, it takes a toll on your ability to prioritize family. But because these high-earning women, they want men to value women for the same things that women value men for, so they have a hard time retaining men. Them saying that men are intimidated by how much they make is just cope. They're just coping because the men that they want don't want them.
A lot of the time they observe our success and they observe how we stand up for ourselves and the things that we do that we're passionate about, and that intimidates them because it's something that they most of the time are incapable of doing.
What?
Yo, yeah, like, I'm not intimidated by a girl earning more than me. Yes, I like to provide and all that shit. But if a girl's in her bag, man, that's love right there, you know what I mean? If she's working at Woolworths, grinding all the time, or doing OnlyFans, who cares? A couple of the boys are like, she's doing OnlyFans, blah, blah, but I'm crying in a Rolls Royce and, you're still in a Camry, so yeah.
Valuing money over morality. Gen Z is so cooked. That new thing where Gen Z is saying like they don't even care if their woman, their wife, the potential mother of their children is going to be doing OnlyFans. They don't care as long as they're crying in a Rolls Royce because they value materialism over morality. It's just insane. And I hear more and more of that. Man, this can't be a representation of what Gen Z is. It can't be. This is insane.
Personally, in my family, my mum does all the breadwinning and my dad does a traditional woman's role. And if we are if we get our bee in a bonnet about this, then there is something seriously wrong with us. We need to get along, and we shouldn't care about this. We should just live.
Yeah, nobody cares about it. The only people that care about it are the women that can't actually get the men that they want, so they say things to cope like men are intimidated by women who make money. So yeah, nobody actually cares about this. This is just a cope that women have made up, and so people discuss it, but it's not even real. It's not even a real thing.
I'll
come back to you. I think an insecure man would be intimidated by a woman. I think if a man was happy with himself and secure and loving of his partner, he'll be happy no matter what she earns, whatever she learns, whatever it is. So I think it would be an insecure man that would be intimidated by a woman.
Literally speaking TikTokian. That has to be a language. TikTokian. Literally just speaking TikTokian. Saying buzzwords that have no meaning just to get applause.
Bridget? Literally took the words out of my mouth. Spot on. Like, a weak man will be intimidated by a powerful woman. A man who is secure in his masculinity will not be threatened by a woman that earns more, is doing more than them potentially. Like, it's all about the individual. It's not just like a gendered issue. It's an individual person being weak issue.
Black tank top?
Yeah, so I completely agree with that point that obviously insecure men would probably be intimidated because obviously they're not getting much out of their lives. But to be general, I think there was a statement.
That would be a great life. What are we talking about here? The problem is that when women make more, generally speaking, they're more likely to file for divorce. The men, when they're making less than the woman, aren't the ones filing for divorce. When women start to make more than their man, that is a good indicator that the relationship is eventually going to end. So the problem ain't on the male side. Men are okay. If you want to go to work and make $150,000 a year and all I got to do is stay home and change a couple of diapers, I'm sure many of men will be okay with that deal. The problem is ultimately most women don't want to bear the responsibility of providing for a family for 60 years of their lives, and it makes sense. And that's why when women make a lot of money, even though they have enough money to sustain themselves and a family, they generally still want a man that makes more. It's because they're not even biologically designed to want to be the breadwinner or to want to be the highest contributor in the family. Let's just be honest.
It was a lot generalized that, like most men you've been, that was, your choice that you probably selected the insecure man. But most men that are probably, probably myself, I come from the family as well. Like, one of the boys said that my mom earns more and my parents are happy together, and same way I grew up as well, that I want to be a provider, but I don't want to get, really over or controlling over the other person just because they're earning more than me.
I totally agree with these girls, but I think it's insecure men that are intimidated, but also it depends on the personality of the boy, because they could find successful women, ambitious women, motivated women attractive. They want to grow with them. They want someone exactly like that, and that's what they actually like, and it can be the opposite. So it just depends on the guy and their personality.
Two more opinions, and the next question in this round.
I just love that before your last point, the divide between men and women here. I'm just trying to understand the difference between men and women. All of the men were like women who are successful, that correlated to, for some reason, women who earn more money. None of you guys mentioned money, because I feel like you're right, like success isn't necessarily a financial thing. I mean, personally, I love a bad bitch. I love like a fucking woman who's like powerful. But I mean, I'm definitely coming from a different landscape because I'm not after a woman. But yeah, that's that.
Last one, last statement. Yeah, Layla.
I definitely agree with what he's saying, because I don't think success is defined by, you know, how much money you have or your wealth, but I think it's also just about the type of person that you are and the way that you portray yourself. And when insecure guys do come across a girl...
No, success indicates some type of accomplishment. You're just making that's just silly. If success is about how you carry yourself, come on now.
Who they see portrays herself in a very confident manner, they do start to feel, you know, fearful around that, because they know that that girl knows her worth. So they know that no matter what they do, if they step out of line, that girl is going to be able to walk away and leave with no hesitation, because she knows her worth. And that is a powerful, successful woman.
And we stay on business.
Yeah. Period.
Men are
Gen Z is so cooked. Good luck, fellas.
logical, women are emotional. Heads?
We need a mic somewhere. Straight up, very untrue. There is statistical evidence that have suggested that it is, well, obviously, I've been put on the spot here, sorry. So it is all based on a socializing aspect, of course. We're all individuals. The environment and the people that we associate with will largely dictate how our worldviews are. This is especially exaggerated with, you know, TikTok algorithms, all the social media, the intense algorithms funneling us into a very slim worldview. And with that being said, obviously this is a generalization thing, but there is men are much more emotional. They get offended when you say that they are emotional and not logical. Women, however, again, generalizing, largely get talked over, so they have a lot more to work on. So generally, when they do have an opinion, it is much more backed.
They have done some really good conditioning on these young men. This is eye-opening, to say the least.
No, that's very good. I definitely think it's really up to the person. Everyone is different. I mean, I'd say I'm very emotional, and I've been with guys who are very emotional as well. It really just depends on the person themselves and how they handle everything and how they perceive things, you know, their upbringing, the people they're around. It's really all to the person, and there's not a generalization.
Okay, I 100% agree that women are much more emotional than men, because I live with two older sisters, and by God do they drive me crazy. So many pointless arguments over the dumbest things, and I'm always staying calm. They're just losing their mind, yelling at me, and we can never like talk it out like just normal siblings.
They drive you crazy.
Yes, because they're my sisters.
You said they're so more emotional. They drive me crazy. They're so emotional.
Yeah.
I get emotional.
How does that make sense?
No, I'm not getting.
No, he's saying it's annoying and he has to tolerate it because they're his sisters.
I think that as species, we are both equally as emotional. The only difference between men and women is that we show it more. Men tend to internalize how they feel because they're worried of being perceived a certain way. I think that definitely needs to change.
It's crazy how anything masculine has to be like labeled as some form of insecurity or some type of issue that men have to like work on. Your ability to control and compartmentalize your emotions is now seen as something you need to work on as a man. If you are in the streets crying, showing your emotion, then you're probably more emotional. And just because you express your emotions by being fanatic and crying more, that doesn't mean you have more emotional intelligence. That's been the lie that's been told to men for so long now that obviously these guys have just really internalized that type of stuff. It's crazy.
Who hurt you guys? Like, it's okay to show your emotions. It's okay to be honest. You don't have to lie.
I agree with that point. I think that's just the masculinity that a lot of men would not show it because, you'll be like, a man has to be strong and stuff like that.
What is going on?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the situations. Obviously, as a mother, you would make better decisions for your kids because obviously you'll be more close to them. And as a father, I feel like you'll probably take some hard decisions, which does not mean they're being logical. I think it's just the aspect that we've been, trained since kids that, be strong, you have to provide for the family. So I don't think so. We are less emotional. I think it's just the same thing that it's hard to show it and to express it.
These young men are terrified to disagree on anything. Either they're terrified to disagree on anything, or feminism has done so good at indoctrinating them that they don't even understand that there are biological differences between men and women. Hormones is a big one, and that is the reason why women are more emotional than men. We have different hormones. It's a biological reality.
Personally, I get a massive bee in my bonnet, ironically. Whenever another man tells me, man up, be a man, you're being weak and all that stuff. Because personally, I am someone who's never tried to do that. I've always showed emotion.
Oh, brother, man up. Man up, brother.
And I absolutely, it's so insulting when men say to me, man up, man up. It's crazy. It makes me so angry about...
He has the voice of a lady. He needs to get into the gym. Testosterone levels have to go up.
It's not true. We are just as equally emotional, if not more.
Girls? Yep, far right. Far right.
About the sisters, I think girls are much more especially with someone that they're comfortable with family especially, we are much more expressive, but it depends on who we are with. If we are not comfortable with that, we'll be as stoic as you guys. But if you're much more comfortable with you, we show our emotions more.
I agree with a lot of different points, but I think one thing that for me is just such a big important part is periods and hormones. Girls
differences in hormones.
Biologically, physically, our hormones are just crazy, and that makes us so much more emotional, and men have never experienced that. So I just feel like that's a big role.
Yeah, but we put up with it. Yeah, but we're the ones that deal with it, so... Oh, Duana, you don't know what I go through! You don't know what I go through!
First of all... Okay, and so what?
I put up with it.
Why?
Relax.
Okay. Have you experienced a cramp before?
He's the only guy that at least he has one testicle. He's the only guy that has a fragment of a testicle.
Yes? As bad? The worst?
Have you experienced that?
Okay. You are able to express your frustration in a positive way and not a negative way, right? You don't need to speak down on your sisters. Imagine your sisters were watching this.
What if they're a couple of bitches? And what if they're not even actually bitches? They're just acting like a bitch in that moment. Is that not okay? Can you not point out negative female behavior without that being something that you have to work on? It's crazy.
In a way, I agree with every point, but at the same time, I kind of disagree with you, bro, because you got to understand, as women, they do go through a lot.
I know.
We don't give birth.
I know they do.
The only cramps we get is through sports. That's not the same. So I also have sisters. So I'm saying to you, in a way, you're contradicting yourself because you're saying you're not emotional, but you're emotional about your sisters fucking up your state. You know what I mean? So, yeah, in that way, I would say, yes, women are more emotional for a reason. We are logical because we get time to think about it.
So you just agree with him. So you just said all of that just to circle back and still agree with him. Grow up hair, bro. Grow a pair. This is
And
crazy.
we don't have anything, interfering with it. So, yeah.
What's your name, bro? Aiden. Aiden,
Here come the
you're
gay
a
dude.
bitch. All right? A bitch. I'll say I'm a very emotional person. Yeah, fucking so gay. All right. I'm a very emotional person myself. I feel like I'm well poised for this debate. I was raised in a family of all boys, so I think I know a lot about women.
They're saying that he's the one that's emotional. This lady just started screaming at the top of her lungs. This guy was so emotional about him saying that women are more emotional biologically that he tried to act like he disagreed with it and then literally agree with it, but he didn't use like a feminine tactic of tone policing, like, bro, just say it differently. And then this guy got so emotional that he just called him a bitch, and that's that's insane.
But I think, my brothers are all very logical in the way they think and they present their arguments and everything, particularly my oldest brother, he's fucking great at it. But they are emotional, but they definitely mask their emotions. And I feel like that's definitely a thing that men do. We mask our emotions and we're not so open with them, unless you're gay. All right.
Back left, the red hair. Back left, boy.
Thank you. We compartmentalize our emotions unless we're gay. He said it. I didn't. He said it.
You're letting me down, guys. Lock in, come on. Anyway, I think it's all about girl math and boy.
His point doesn't matter. He said that he'd pimp out his girlfriend or wife. His point doesn't matter. He'll never get respect amongst men. He cares more about crying in a Rolls Royce than he does the integrity of his family and of his wife. With that type of mentality, men will never respect that.
Math with logicality, if that's a word. But with girl math, they return an item at the store and they get store credit and think they made money. So a guy would know that, that's not making money, right? And with the emotional side, I reckon all, girls are more emotional, but they just try to be bad bitches these days, eh? They just want to slay. And guys, we're turning into pussies these days. There's so many of them around. So, yeah, man, that's my thing.
Okay, maybe he's just a pimp then. Maybe he's just a pimp. Guys still won't respect it because you pimping out your girlfriend or your wife. But he seems to be a little bit more base than some of the other dudes. So, maybe he's just a pimp. Maybe he's just pimping.
Okay, I just want to start off by saying that everything is a choice. How you choose to deal with people and their emotions is completely up to you. Whether that's your sister or not, I'm looking at you. Also, we are visually more emotional because we depend on you to show your emotions as well. When you're sitting there talking to yourself as a female while a man's standing in front of you, it drives you insane, right? Like, we're waiting on you. I don't like the language.
Right. This is pointed to Aiden. I just want to ask you a question.
They're all going to gang up on him now because this is what happens to any masculine standard in the West now.
This is the way you talk about your sisters.
Tone policing. It's just the way you say it. You're supposed to say it how women want you to say it, or you're a bad man.
How in the hell? Are you straight? Can I ask? Are you?
By the way, none of these women are emotional, of course, even though they're being totally emotional about what he just said.
How in the hell are you going to deal with a wife one day? If this is how you're talking about your beloved sisters,
Okay.
you just sound like you hate women.
No, I don't hate women.
This is where we are. Everything you do, any standards that you have as a man is just labeled as you hate women, and other men will back that up and back up the women, and all the women, of course, will back it up, even though it's just silly. All he did was critique negative behavior that his sisters exhibit, and all of a sudden he hates his sisters, he's a misogynist, he hates women. This is where we are. And of course, that's an emotional argument, but they're not emotional, right?
Okay, look, I love my sisters very much. I'll do anything for them. They're my ride or die.
And then the guy has to go and backpedal and try to justify and change his tone in order to compensate for everybody in the room's emotions, because just saying something as it is now not allowed anymore. Everything is tone police.
So much for me. It's normal sibling, hate-love relationship. But you can't compare your wife to people that you grew up with in your house. What?
So, I agree with that. Can I? So,
Yeah.
Like, look at how they're ostracizing him for simply saying that my sisters are sometimes a little bit bitchy when they're on their periods. And the craziest part about this is women will justify being bitchy on their periods because they're on their periods. So he's saying something that the women oftentimes will say happens. This is insane to watch, really.
Why do you use, if you can recognize that sibling relationship and how that might impact on how you communicate with your sisters, why are you using that as a generalization for all women?
Okay, you know what?
That's not very fair.
Nah, valid.
Yeah.
Fair point. I don't have a comeback. Fair point.
Like TikTok, last opinion, next round.
I think I understand the pain, but I think I'm a little over it that, whenever they get the pain, which is obviously decided biological, and obviously it has been given as a blessing because you can obviously spend time more with the kid. The kid will also love you more in the future as you all love your mothers more, and I'm very sure it will be definitely true. So I think that's more like a blessing than using always against it. You can take off whenever you get the periods. You can easily say to your employer, and I think you will. I think so. I think it works better as compared to a man that will have to go because he wouldn't have any reason.
What workplace?
Any workplace you would like to go. As long, this is the thing, right? You tell a man that you've had periods and you want to take off. He wouldn't say anything against because he can't feel it, so he'll tell you, yes, take off,
Okay.
even though the pain is not there. Or
Apparently we can get time off in our workplace, but what about during high school when our pads would be full or we need to go change our tampons and we'd ask the teacher, can we please go to the bathroom? We have things to tend to, and they wouldn't let us.
Well, that's probably the educational thing which is very different.
Probably because a lot of young women lie to get out of class, and they say things like that, so much so that there's a lack of trust that the teachers have for young women saying things like that. I doubt that they just would rather you just bleed out than to actually go and handle what you got to handle. It's probably just been something that's been abused so much that teachers don't trust it.
In some workplaces too.
Yeah,
That's
I
just
know.
the reality of
And
life.
I would imagine that that's not even usually the case. Depending on the student and depending on the character of the student, it's probably what dictates it, what the teacher thinks about that type of topic. But I would imagine, and maybe I could be wrong, that generally speaking, young ladies get the ability to go to the bathroom if they have period problems.
Okay, round 2, stay in your seats.
He said round 2, but I guess that's it. That's the end of the video. Maybe if they do a part 2, I'll come watch it again. But bro, I'm just trying to tell you the amount of soy that's on this panel and the type of representation that they get to represent masculinity in men is just always so disappointing.